over other social media. So over to you, Rini.
Thanks, Christine. Here we are back in our PJs. Let me just give me a second here. I will start a screen share so everybody can kind of look at some of these highlights out here. So, Christine, one of the things, I do want to point out, because a lot of people have asked me this question. We talked about it in the previous YouTube video also, as to why, we want to look at, we're so tired of being in different channels, exploring different things. I think the biggest advantage of Google Plus is, of course, it is linked to very serious SEO. So if your first job is to drive traffic to your website and let people be aware of who you are and what you do and what your business does, I think that would be clearly a very important advantage having there. We have seen our Google rankings, without buying any ad on Google, go up in ranks substantially over the first 3 days. We set up a Google Plus page. We think that Google Plus, and this is actually in the next slide, there's a link to this. We have compared the features of LinkedIn, and we find that it has the same kind of features as LinkedIn in most of the cases. And if your audience or your businesses and your customers really want something that requires a better visual, Google Plus is a much better interface to make it much more catchier. The other thing on the interface aspect of it that Google Plus I thought was really interesting was since they make money on search, they really want the content to be crowdsourced and people to engage in that content. So there's no pushed out curated news and sponsors posts like LinkedIn has, which creates an immense amount of clutter, right? I mean, Christine, you would agree that in the last 5 or 6 months, all the rollouts on LinkedIn, when you look at the page, there's so much clutter. With their endorsement, feature and everything, I feel like I'm swatting flies constantly on my screen to get to what I want to read.
Absolutely, and more rubbish, more and more scammy stuff with Garcinia Cambogia, weight loss, and all of those other stuff.
Right.
It's just flooding LinkedIn now.
And so the thing, and their own posts, it's not that I want them to curate my reading, and I think in Google Plus it has the original sense of community and posts and how we filter. You have far more control over how things are filtered through it. For example, we can filter through, who we want to look at, and you can put them in different circles, and you can control the speed at which their posts will show up, which you cannot do on LinkedIn. You can only do it by certain feature. For example, you only want to see, how people have connected. Either you see it all or you see nothing.
Yes.
But you cannot filter by individual. So I think it's a huge advantage out here.
Yeah, to have that fine control.
Absolutely. And I think, so that is on the content engagement and, how we use it, right, as just a reader. Yeah. But if you think about it from a sense of, once you've established your brand, you're going to acquire new customers, and you're going to engage in customer service. Dell has a customer service, channel there. Friends Plus May, a lot of these people, 24/7, they're out there. Customers are asking them questions, and you can actually answer the questions with details. It's not like in Twitter where you have 140 characters, right? You're actually seeing what their question is. You can immediately, give a response back. And unlike in LinkedIn where everybody has to be nice, you can actually complain here, and it's the real thing.
That's right. I mean, you complain on LinkedIn and you're likely to be banned for life. It doesn't matter how valid that complaint is or how civilly or politely or subtly you put that complaint, but you risk being put out for life. So everybody has the cast iron smile on LinkedIn, or there could be all this trouble.
And I think in Google Plus, I mean, the other thing that it allows to do is to manage the entire life cycle and interaction with the customer. You know, it also helps you to build and become a trusted advisor. And again, it will depend on who your audience is. If, for example, we have 3 different kinds of product, one of them is enterprise-wide, and our buyers are typically SVPs or COOs of very large companies. Of course, right now, I would say out of my 1,200 connections, I did a study on that, 10% of them are not available on G+ or non-LinkedIn channels. And the big question is, are those 10% relevant for me? And if they're not, then I can survive without going into LinkedIn and just making G+ our company's Parker's only channel, along with Twitter and some of the other things that are there.
Yeah.
So
things that have actually got an evidence basis for them.
Right.
That they do produce ROI for you.
Exactly. So I think every company, every individual has to kind of find out, which they want to tackle. For us, what we have also found is we have the people, the VPs and COOs are the ones who are signing the checks, but the people who are using the product, which are customer service reps and sales reps and, people who want to learn how to do certain things, they are very much and in a much bigger presence within Google+. So for us, that was huge. It was a huge find. The next piece that I thought was, really a huge advantage for Google+ is the Hangouts are very sweet. You can even do Hangouts as customer service agents, So you're taking your entire chat and video chat platform, and you have added to, doing sales. You can do, right now I use WebEx and, Skype videos to do product demos. I can do that straight as a CRM channel from Google+.
So flexible.
Correct. And the other big thing, at least as somebody who manages, day-to-day sales and customer service and, all the customer interactions, if you have Google for Business, for example, Gmail for Business, then every product of Google is linked to that business account. And why is that important? It is important because all the people who work in the company, the activities that they're doing in Google+, let's call it, customer relationship management, right? I can, not I, but all the managers or, whoever is managing can actually download all that data and upload it and, seamlessly to the CRM. We get all that information. LinkedIn, in contrast, every account is an individual account. So you have your LinkedIn profile. When you leave the company, you take all that with you. And LinkedIn being a members first organization, they can never change the equation, at least not as yet, in making it a company account by which the companies can manage their sales process, their customer service process, their marketing process.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, companies have no control or management over what's happening on LinkedIn in relation to the customer relationships that are being formed, and they're actually open or exposed to litigation from executives who are doing the wrong thing.
Or they go away,
Or leave. You can take it with them. Yes.
Which is fine, because they spend the time, developing it. But if they're using the company hat, and that's how they've established those connections, I think it's a fair deal for the company to keep those, relationships. The other thing that I think LinkedIn here is actually much better than Google+ is if you're looking for a job. I think, the way they have built their talent management solutions, it is superb. I think it is much more effective than anywhere in Google+ or Facebook. On the other hand, on Google+, I think they have the basis of a great CRM system, which, the Sales Navigator of LinkedIn doesn't even come close.
Mm. There's so much there. There's just so
Right.
much there.
So I think, at least for what I've seen, it seems like, that this is going to be a big and great channel for us. And we are hoping in Gobsmack we're going to have more and more sharing. We are hoping that people will come and share their sales and customer service stories and branding stories and tell us more about, how they use it. What do you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Rini, and I mean we're planning on being an example and a role model as we move forward, and I think everybody understands now that selling and marketing has changed so dramatically, even over the last decade, that everyone understands it's about building community, and that means building loyalty and proving expertise in order to gain people's trust, so that when they're ready to purchase, they will purchase from nowhere else but you. And Google Plus delivers that kind of community building functionality where that incredible value can be delivered. And I'm talking value as perceived by potential customers and clients,
Right.
not value as we perceive it.
Right.
And then when those people are exposed to a revenue opportunity of any kind, whether that's real estate purchase or whether it's a cleaning company or whether it's a motor mechanic repair shop or whatever it is.
It's a
when they're
bank
exposed,
service, it's
anything at all. If the opportunity is there for the person to need or require or purchase that service or product, they're not going anywhere else but that community. And that's what networking is all about, genuine, authentic networking.
And collaboration.
Collaboration. Because who was ever successful on their own? I mean, there's never been anyone in history who's done that.
And look at us now. I mean, I've not met you in person. Here I am in Columbus, Ohio, in my PJs, and there you are. In Perth.
Yeah, we're wearing Elmo. And I think, here we are, we've found, I think, in each other a business soulmate and some great friendship and certainly a lot of fun. And this is part of the beauty, the organic nature, if you like, of these kinds of communities, and I don't see it happening anywhere else quite so well as on Google+. So, Rini, thank you. It's been delightful once again. I hope people are beginning to see the possibilities here for their own business or their own profession, and really look forward to sharing more.
Go Gobsmack. We are the Gobsmack.
We'll wear our crowns next time. Yep. Good night. Good night, Rini. Bye all.
Bye.